welcome to another episode of Pretty Brilliant. If you're new to this channel, my name is Brittany Nicole, and I talk about reprogramming your mind to level up your life. This episode, I think I'm calling it now. We'll see how it goes, because I like to speak extemporaneously, so I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to say. But I have a feeling that this might get a little spicy, because I'm talking about a topic that if you do not feel like this topic applies to you, it might be triggering. And I'm open to that, because I think you got to let yourself get triggered sometimes so you can learn about yourself. But if this episode applies, if you are someone who at seeing the title, you're like, oh my God, that's me, you're going to feel comfortable here. But you're also going to feel uncomfortable, because I'm going to give you some very, very rude awakenings. And it's not because I'm rude. It's because you need it. And it's because I wish that I had someone to tell me the things that I had to learn the hard way in the way that I'm going to explain them. So let's get into it. All right, we could have a long philosophical discussion about beauty, whether or not it's fair, sacred geometry, and lots of other things, but I do not plan on talking that long. So let's keep it simple. Beauty is not one thing. It's multidimensional, it's multifaceted, and it's hard to define. So I'm not going to flatten it. For this conversation, what I think is more effective is clarifying not what beauty is, but what beauty does. And that's actually very simple. It attracts perception. So what even is perception? So perception, I want you to think of it like a machine in your brain, okay? Perception is the technology in your brain that tells your nervous system what to pay attention to. So when something or someone beautiful enters your perceptive field, it is perceived as neurologically loud, and your system can't help but pay attention to it. Now, here's the thing. You have flesh on your bones, but your body is not just the meat that you see. You are actually broadcasting neurological data as signal that cannot be seen, but can very much be felt. So when you, beautiful person, walk into a room, even if you don't say a goddamn thing, you are neurologically loud. It is what it is. Let's build on it. Don't be attractive, well-dressed, and well-spoken. Now you triple loud. And the worst possible combo, attractive, well-dressed, well-spoken, and kind. Yeah, girl, you're doing too damn much. So I'm being a little bit facetious when I say neurologically loud, but I'm also being serious, because that is the experience of your presence. Imagine that you're in like a library, right? Somewhere that is quiet, the energy is still, and then maybe somebody walks into the library blasting death metal. It doesn't matter what you were doing. You are now forced to pay attention to this sound, because it's in such contrast as the atmosphere that's already been established by this quiet library. And I use that as an example because when you are used to being yourself, you don't know what it feels like to experience you. And there's nothing wrong with you being neurologically loud, but I think it is good for you to know what other people are experiencing so that you can navigate life a little bit better. Your neurological loudness is normal to you, but other people perceive it as power. Because it is power, especially in a world where there is a social economy and there are certain things that are ranked above and below other things. You have a form of wealth that you might not even acknowledge. And when you don't acknowledge your wealth, you are vulnerable. I'm going to make this personal to make it real, because I had body image issues from about 11 to about 33. So when I look back on comments that were made by people that I thought were my friends, I look back on moments that I justified something that somebody said or did that was like kind of weird and kind of off. it wasn't that hard for me to justify it back then because I didn't recognize that they were trying to belittle me. Why would they want to belittle me when I was already small in my perception? But that hurt me. It hurt me not acknowledging that there were aspects about me that, whether I could see it or not, people wanted for themselves. I had a sort of wealth in my attractiveness and my presence and my sex appeal that people, women and men actually, now that I think about it, wanted for themselves, wanted to embody themselves. They saw something in me that was embodied and that was natural for me that was not embodied and not natural for them. And so my presence, my very existence, felt like a threat to their self-concept. And because my self-concept was broken, I didn't see it. Now I can look back and say, oh, every time you made a comment about my weight loss, that was you trying to make yourself feel better than how my presence was making you feel about yourself. And I don't have empathy for that. And you shouldn't either. You should not have empathy with the people who are projecting their insecurities on you, but you should be strategically aware of it. Here's the really ugly truth. People don't actually dislike you. They don't even see you. When they look at you, they don't see you. What you are for people is just a reflection of what they are not. What they are doing is defending themselves from how inferior you make them feel. Somebody who is insecure and immature is not going to have enough awareness to say, this person is making me feel insecure. Some part of myself is triggered by their presence, and I need to figure out what that is. They're just going to talk shit about you, be nice, nasty toward you, be mean toward you for no reason, be distant toward you, act weird, try to get close to you and be friends to figure out what really makes you tick, to find flaws. That's immature behavior. If you are someone who finds yourself on the receiving end of a lot of compliments or on the receiving end of a lot of jealousy and relationships, there's always like some kind of weird competition or secret battle that you didn't know about. Wake up, sis. Humble is not what you need to be. You need to start looking at the data that people are giving you about yourself and taking that into consideration. And it's time to start leveling up your circle. What I would recommend is that you do an energy audit of how your energy contributes to the lives of others versus how their energy contributes to you. And if there is an imbalance, then it's time to start making some cuts, my dear. I'm gonna get on a tangent here a little bit, but this is important because I don't think as a society we really understand how precious vulnerability is. I don't think that we really use the word vulnerability or the experience of being vulnerable in like the full sense of the word. So here's how I perceive it. When you are vulnerable in a relationship, whether it's a romantic relationship, friendship, or whatever the situation is, what you are saying is, I'm open. I have opened my field to you. I am allowing you to be a part of the person that I will become tomorrow and next week and next month and next year. I am allowing you to participate in how I construct my life and how I construct my identity. It's like being permeable. I'm allowing my identity to be permeated by yours. And when you operate from that level of intention with your own life, with your own soul, you don't just let anybody do that. Like at this iteration of myself, now that I realize, let me back up a little bit because I have made all of the mistakes that I talked about in this video, and this is why I can say it from a place of experience. But once I removed myself from environments where other people's perceptions and other people's projections were a part of my identity, I was so enmeshed that I couldn't tell the difference between them and me. when I remove myself from that, then I could see my own makeup. I could see my own essence. I could understand how I actually think, what I actually believe, what I actually feel, what I actually prefer, what I actually like, who I actually am versus who I felt like I had to be when I had all these strings connected to me. And so removing myself from that and spending time in my own field, now I can say, okay, I see that I did not choose the people in my life with enough intention, and I became a version of myself that was very much enmeshed with who those people were. And I don't want that for me anymore. Now, when I think about the kind of people I want in my life, I want people who have complex points of view. I want people who have healthy nervous systems. I want people who have a vision for their life and a vision for their world, and they're working on something that means something to them. Those are my standards and those are my values. You don't have to take that. You can if you want to. But my thing is, don't just be choosing people to hang out with anymore. And if you are somebody who is attractive and intelligent and you have power that whether or not you see it as power, the other people in the world see it as power, you can't afford to do that. If you're going to choose relationships that are unsatisfying and that you will be a target of projections and insecurity, that is your choice. You can choose to experience life that way, but do it on purpose. Don't do it on accident because you're not a victim. You don't have to. You think that you have to because you were told that you have to, but that is a lie. I'm sorry to tell you. Now you have to be responsible for your own life. And here's another tip. Now, full disclosure, part of the reason I'm saying this is because I offer mentorship, but that's not the entire reason I am bringing this up, because it's a fact. Mentorship, I invested in a lot of mentors in my personal development, in my business development. And the reason that mentorship is important is because it's like a upgrade to your perception. When you have access to someone who already has the knowledge you have, the skills you have, the confidence you have, you can actually buy yourself time. And time is way more expensive than money. One of my mentors is, her name is Lauren Messiah. She's actually a stylist and a business genius. And I found her years ago on YouTube and like bought into her programs, and like I just have kind of built this kind of relationship over time with her. And I respected her so much as a businesswoman, as a woman in general, and just her, like her point of view was one that I wanted to develop. I saw someone who was logical, strategic, creative, and confident, and she had what I wanted to have, but didn't yet. And so I invested in spending time with understanding her point of view, investing in her products, because those things were for me. I gave her money and she gave me back time. And so I say that to say a really, really good upgrade to your network is investing in mentors. If you are interested in mentorship with me, I will have information in the link below. I only take on mentees when the relationship is right and the resonance is right. So this is not just about me and you. This is about upgrading your life, period. And going from just hanging out with people who you can get margaritas with to hanging out with people who can influence who you become in a good way. I think I am done with my rant and rampage on this topic. I thank you for watching another episode of Pretty Brilliant, and I will see you next time.